Jack Thompson stood outside the Golden Fork, his heart heavy as he stared at the weathered "For Sale" sign planted firmly in the ground. The vibrant red and gold paint of the sign had begun to peel, much like the dreams he once held for this restaurant. It had once been filled with laughter, the clattering of dishes, and the warm aroma of home-cooked meals. But now it sat silent, as if mourning its own demise. Memories flooded his mind like a tidal wave. Families gathered around tables, couples celebrating anniversaries, and friends laughing over shared plates of comfort food. Each recollection brought a pang of regret as he contemplated the impending closure of the place he had nurtured for over a decade. With a deep sigh, Jack ran a hand through his salt and pepper hair, his thoughts drifting to the bills piling up on his kitchen table. The restaurant had become a financial burden, its once thriving business gradually dwindling to a trickle. The bustling crowds that used to fill the seats had dwindled to a mere handful, and each passing day felt like a countdown to bankruptcy. He had resisted the idea of selling for so long, clinging to the hope that somehow things would turn around. But the harsh reality of life was unforgiving. "Maybe it's time to let go," he muttered to himself, his voice barely above a whisper. Just then, a gust of wind rustled the leaves on the nearby trees, as if nature itself were urging him to reconsider. He shook his head, pushing the thought away. "I can't give up just yet." As he turned to re-enter the restaurant, a commotion caught his attention. A scruffy man with unkempt hair and worn clothes was shuffling past, his hands stuffed deep into his pockets. Beside him walked a small girl, no more than 7 or 8 years old, with bright blue eyes that sparkled even in the dim light of the evening. She clutched a ragged teddy bear that looked as though it had seen better days. Jack felt a twinge of empathy. He understood hardship all too well. "Excuse me!" Jack called out, his voice echoing in the quiet street. The man turned, and Jack could see the weariness etched on his face. "Are you looking for something to eat?" The man hesitated, his eyes darting to the girl beside him. We were just passing through," he replied, his voice gravelly yet kind. "Well, I can't pay you much," Jack said, rubbing the back of his neck awkwardly. "But if you need shelter for a night, you can stay here. I have a few extra blankets." The man's expression softened, and Jack noticed the girl's eyes widen with hope. "Thank you," the man said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm Sam, and this is my daughter, Lily." "Lily?" Jack repeated, smiling at the girl, who beamed back at him. "Come on in. It's not much, but it's warm." As they stepped inside the Golden Fork, the familiar sense of old wood and lingering spices enveloped them. Jack flicked on the dim overhead lights, revealing the empty tables and chairs that had once been filled with life. He felt a pang of nostalgia mixed with sadness. Lily gazed around the restaurant in awe, her eyes wide. "It's so big!" she exclaimed, her voice filled with wonder. Jack couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. "It used to be a lot busier," he admitted, a hint of bitterness creeping into his tone. "But I'm sure you'll like it here." As the storm outside began to pick up, rain pattering against the windows, Jack retrieved a couple of blankets from the storage room. He handed them to Sam, who accepted them with gratitude. "Thank you, really. We didn't know where we were going to sleep tonight." Jack nodded, feeling a sense of camaraderie forming. "Just make yourselves comfortable. I'll see if I can whip up something for dinner." As he moved into the kitchen, Jack felt a strange sense of purpose returning to him. Cooking had always been his escape, a way to drown out the noise of his worries. He rummaged through the pantry, pulling out a few cans of soup and some stale bread. It wasn't much, but it would suffice for a warm meal. While he worked, Jack could hear the soft murmur of voices coming from the dining area. He glanced over his shoulder to see Lily playing with the utensils, her small hands expertly arranging them on the table. It was as if she had an innate understanding of the kitchen's rhythm. "Are you a chef?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Jack chuckled, wiping his hands on a dish towel. "I used to be. This was my restaurant." "You should cook something amazing," she said, her enthusiasm infectious. "Like a feast." He raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her spirit. "A feast, huh? What do you have in mind?" Lily thought for a moment, her brow furrowing in concentration. "How about spaghetti and meatballs? My dad says it's the best." Jack couldn't help but laugh. "That sounds like a challenge. I think I can manage that." As he began to prepare the meal, Jack found himself glancing at Lily more often. There was something about her energy that reminded him of his own daughter, who had passed away years ago. The memory of her laughter echoed in his mind, tugging at his heartstrings. He had buried that pain deep within, but now it resurfaced like an old friend. Sam watched from the doorway, a soft smile on his face as he observed the interaction between his daughter and Jack. "You have a way with her," he remarked, his voice low but warm. "She's just full of life," Jack replied, stirring the sauce on the stove. "It's hard not to smile around her." As the meal began to take shape, Jack felt a warmth spreading through him, a flicker of hope igniting in the depths of his heart. Perhaps this unexpected encounter was a sign, a chance to reconnect with the world he had shut out for so long. When dinner was finally served, they gathered around the table, the smell of the sauce filling the air. Jack watched as Lily took her first bite, her eyes lighting up in delight. "This is the best spaghetti ever!" she exclaimed, her voice bubbling with excitement. Jack chuckled, feeling a swell of pride. "Thank you, Lily. I might have to keep you around as my taste tester." Sam looked at Jack, his expression thoughtful. "You've got a gift, Jack. This place, there's magic in it, just waiting to be reignited." Jack nodded, the weight of Sam's words settling in his mind. Could it be? Could the golden fork rise from the ashes? As the storm raged outside, he felt a flicker of hope that perhaps this was just the beginning of something new. As the days turned into a week, the atmosphere inside the Golden Fork began to shift. The once desolate restaurant, with its peeling walls and dusty floors, was now filled with the sounds of laughter, the clattering of pots, and the sizzling of ingredients on the stove. Jack Thompson found himself caught in a whirlwind of emotions, feeling a hope he hadn't experienced in years. Sam, the scruffy homeless man, had seamlessly woven himself into the fabric of Jack's daily routine, and his daughter Lily had become the light shining through the shadows of despair that had loomed over Jack for far too long. One sunny afternoon, as Jack wiped down the counter, he watched Sam and Lily bustling about the kitchen. Sam was scrubbing the dishes, while Lily, with her hair tied up in a messy bun and flour dusting her cheeks, was experimenting with a new recipe. The two of them had taken ownership of the space, transforming it into a home where Jack had once felt only loneliness. "Can we add more garlic, Dad?" Lily asked, her voice filled with excitement as she mixed the ingredients in a bowl. "More garlic makes everything better, sweetheart," Sam replied with a smile, glancing over his shoulder. Jack couldn't help but chuckle at their dynamic, a father and daughter team finding joy in the simplest of things. "Hey, what are you two cooking up over there?" Jack asked, feigning ignorance as he approached them. "Just a little something I thought of," Lily beamed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "It's a surprise." Jack raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "A surprise, huh? Can I at least know if it's edible?" Lily giggled, swatting Jack's arm playfully. "Of course it's edible, just wait and see." As the afternoon wore on, Jack found himself becoming more involved in the cooking process. He moved around the kitchen, guiding Lily and giving Sam a hand when needed. The trio worked in harmony, chopping vegetables, stirring pots, and sharing stories. Jack's heart swelled with a sense of purpose he thought he had lost forever. "This is the best team I've ever had," Jack remarked, wiping his brow with the back of his hand. "I could get used to this." "Maybe you should consider keeping the restaurant," Sam suggested, a hint of hope in his voice. "You've got something special going on here." Jack paused, the weight of Sam's words settling in. For weeks, he had been contemplating selling the Golden Fork, but now, with Sam and Lily by his side, the thought of parting with it felt like losing a part of his soul. "I've thought about it," he admitted, glancing at the "for sale" sign hanging outside the window, "but I just don't know if I can make it work." "Look at what we've done in just a week," Sam encouraged, gesturing to the transformed space. "With a little more time and effort, this place could be thriving again." Jack nodded slowly, feeling the spark of determination ignite within him. "Maybe you're right. Maybe this is worth fighting for." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Jack lit a few candles on the tables, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. The restaurant, once a place of despair, now felt alive. The flickering lights danced across the walls, illuminating the laughter and chatter that filled the air. That night, after they finished cooking, the three of them sat down to share a meal together. Sam served Lily first, placing a generous portion of food on her plate. "Bon appétit, my lady," he declared, bowing in an exaggerated fashion that made Lily erupt in giggles. "Thank you, kind sir," she replied, playing along. Jack couldn't help but smile at their playful banter. It was a heartwarming sight that reminded him of the family dinners he used to have with his late daughter. As they ate, Jack felt a strange sense of belonging. "You know, I used to run this place with my own daughter," he shared, his voice softening. "She loved to help in the kitchen. It's nice to see that spark again." Lily looked up at him, her big, curious eyes filled with empathy. "You miss her, don't you?" Jack nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "Every day. But having you here makes it a little easier." Sam glanced at Jack, sensing the weight of his words. "You've given us a home, Jack. We're grateful for that. And I think Lily brings a special kind of magic to this place." "Yeah!" Lily chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. "I want to be a chef just like you, Jack." The compliment warmed Jack's heart, and he felt a renewed sense of hope. "Well then, we'll make a great team, who knows? Maybe one day we'll have our own restaurant here." As the evening progressed, they shared stories, laughter and dreams, solidifying the bond that was forming among them. It was a moment of pure connection that Jack had longed for, and he couldn't help but feel grateful for the unexpected turn his life had taken. Later that night, as Jack closed the restaurant, he found himself lost in thought, reflecting on the past week. The prospect of taking the restaurant off the market lingered in his mind, but uncertainty still gnawed at him. Could he truly make the Golden Fork thrive again? And what did that mean for Sam and Lily? As he swept the floor, Jack overheard a hushed conversation between Sam and Lily in the corner of the kitchen. He froze, his curiosity piqued. "Dad, do you think we'll ever have a real home again?" Lily's voice was small, filled with a mixture of hope and apprehension. "We will, sweet pea," Sam replied softly, his tone reassuring. "We just have to keep believing and working hard. This place, it feels different, doesn't it?" "Yeah," Lily exclaimed, "it feels like a fairy tale." Jack's heart ached at the tenderness of their exchange. He wanted to step in and comfort them, but he felt it wasn't his place. Instead, he listened, drawn into their world of hopes and dreams. "Promise me something, Lily," Sam said, his voice steady. "Whatever happens, we stick together, okay?" "Promise, Dad," she declared, her voice resolute. Jack's heart swelled with emotion as he realized just how deep their bond ran. They were a family, forged through adversity and pain, and now they were finding their way back to the light together. He leaned against the doorframe, a smile creeping across his face. Maybe, just maybe, this unexpected partnership could lead them all to something beautiful. The thought filled him with a warmth he hadn't felt in years, a sense of belonging, purpose, and the possibility of redemption. As the weeks passed, the golden fork began to hum with life again. The clinking of pots and pans resonated throughout the restaurant as Jack Thompson, Sam, and young Lily worked together to breathe new energy into the once forlorn establishment. Jack had been surprised by how quickly he had grown fond of the duo. Under the warm glow of the kitchen lights, he could hear Lily's laughter, a sound that filled the space with a sense of hope that had been missing for far too long. One afternoon, as the sun filtered through the restaurant windows, casting a golden hue over the wooden tables, Jack stood at the counter, organizing a stack of menus. He watched as Lily meticulously arranged fresh herbs on a plate, her small hands moving with the precision of a seasoned chef. She looked up, her bright eyes sparkling with excitement. "Jack, do you think we can serve this to customers? It looks so pretty." Jack smiled, his heart swelling with pride. "Absolutely, Lily. The way you present food is incredible. I think we might just have a hit on our hands." Sam, who was chopping vegetables at the nearby prep station, glanced over and added, "She's got a real talent, Jack. I've never seen anyone get so creative with just a handful of ingredients." As they all laughed and shared ideas about the menu, Jack felt a flicker of something he thought he had lost: hope. He began to seriously contemplate reopening the restaurant to the public. Perhaps this was the redemption he had been seeking. The thought of welcoming customers back, of filling the restaurant with chatter and the tantalizing aroma of freshly cooked meals ignited a fire within him. However, lurking beneath this newfound optimism was a growing cloud of anxiety. Jack's landlord had been increasingly aggressive about the back rent. He had warned Jack that if he didn't settle the debt soon, he would seize the property and put it up for auction. The weight of that threat pressed down on Jack, casting shadows on his dreams. One evening, after they had closed up for the night, Jack sat at a table, staring blankly at the flickering candlelight. Sam noticed his distress and approached with a concerned expression. "You okay, Jack?" Jack sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I'm not sure how much longer I can keep this place. The landlord keeps pushing for the back rent. I can't let it slip through my fingers, but I don't know where to find the money." Sam's face softened, and he sat down across from Jack. "You've got to fight for this, Jack. You've built something beautiful here with us. We can figure this out together." Jack looked up, meeting Sam's earnest gaze. "What do you suggest? I can barely keep up with the bills, let alone come up with extra cash for rent." "I can help," Sam replied, his voice steady. "I may not have a lot of money, but I can cook. Maybe we can start a small pop-up dinner. We can invite people in and offer them a unique experience. You know the locals love this place." Jack considered the idea, his mind racing. It was risky, but what did he have to lose? "You really think it could work?" "Absolutely," Sam said, a glimmer of determination in his eyes. "People are looking for something special, something real. We can give them that." As they brainstormed ideas for the pop-up, Lily bounded into the room, her face flushed with excitement. "Are we having a party? Can I help? I want to make the desserts." Jack chuckled. "Yes, Lily. We're planning a special dinner and you're going to be our pastry chef." Lily jumped up and down, clapping her hands. "Yay! I'll make cookies and cakes. Everyone will love them." As the three of them began to lay out their plans, Jack felt a renewed sense of purpose. The idea of showcasing their culinary talents to the community filled him with enthusiasm. They spent the following days preparing for the event, transforming the restaurant into a cozy dining space adorned with twinkling fairy lights and colorful tablecloths. On the day of the pop-up dinner, the air was thick with anticipation. Jack, Sam, and Lily were busy in the kitchen, finalizing their dishes. Jack had decided to feature a selection of comfort food classics, while Sam added his own flair with gourmet twists. Lily, with her small apron tied around her waist, flitted between them, her energy infectious. As the evening approached, the first guests began to arrive. Jack's heart raced with a mix of excitement and anxiety. He greeted each patron with a warm smile, hoping to mask the knot of worry in his stomach. The restaurant filled with laughter and chatter, the ambience a stark contrast to the silence that had once enveloped the space. However, just as the evening seemed to be taking off, the door swung open, and in walked a figure Jack recognized immediately, a local food critic, known for his discerning palate and harsh reviews. Jack's stomach dropped. He hadn't expected anyone of that caliber to show up at their humble event. "Is that?" Jack whispered to Sam, who was plating up the first course. "Yeah, that's him," Sam replied, his voice low but steady. "Don't let it get to you. Just focus on the food. We're ready for this." Jack took a deep breath, forcing himself to remain calm. As the critic settled at a table, Jack caught his eye and offered a polite nod. Sam leaned in closer, a spark of inspiration lighting up his face. "Jack, you know what might impress him? We should collaborate on a dish." "A collaboration?" Jack echoed, feeling a mix of intrigue and apprehension. "What do you have in mind?" "I've got an idea for a dish that combines your comfort food with my technique. We can create something extraordinary," Sam said, his eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. Jack's heart raced at the prospect. "Okay, let's do it. What do we need?" Sam quickly outlined a plan, and they sprang into action, working side by side, their movements synchronized in a harmonious dance of creativity. As they cooked, Jack felt a surge of adrenaline. The critic's presence became less daunting as he focused on the task at hand. Minutes later, they presented their dish, a fusion of Jack's famous mac and cheese paired with Sam's gourmet truffle oil and a delicate herb crust. Jack's heart pounded as they set the plate in front of the critic, who regarded it with a critical eye. "Let's hope he likes it," Jack murmured, wiping his hands nervously on his apron. "Trust in what we've created." "It's a reflection of us," Sam replied confidently. As the critic took his first bite, time seemed to stand still. Jack held his breath, watching for any sign of approval. The critic paused, his expression inscrutable as he savored the flavors. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he nodded appreciatively. "This is remarkable," the critic said, his voice deep and measured. "You've managed to elevate a classic dish into something extraordinary." Relief washed over Jack, and he exchanged a triumphant glance with Sam. They had done it. The restaurant, once on the brink of closure, was now alive with possibility. As the night continued, plates were cleared and laughter echoed through the Golden Fork. Jack felt a warmth in his chest, a sense of belonging he hadn't felt in years. He looked over at Sam and Lily, both of whom were beaming with pride. In that moment, surrounded by the sounds of joy and the tantalizing aroma of good food, Jack knew that he had found more than just redemption. He had found a family. But in the back of his mind, the threat of the landlord loomed, a reminder that their journey was far from over. Jack steeled himself, determined to fight for the life they were building together, not just for the restaurant, but for the bonds that had formed in the heart of the Golden Fork. As the late afternoon sun streamed through the windows of the Golden Fork, casting a warm glow over the once neglected dining room, Jack Thompson felt a surge of hope he hadn't experienced in years. He and Sam had spent the morning preparing for the arrival of the food critic, a figure whose words could either revive his restaurant or seal its fate. The air was thick with the tantalizing aromas of garlic, herbs, and sautéed vegetables, scents that danced around Jack, invigorating his spirit. "Jack, this sauce needs just a pinch more salt," Sam called from the kitchen, his brows furrowed in concentration as he stirred a bubbling pot on the stove. Jack watched him with admiration. It was astonishing how quickly Sam had adapted to the rhythm of the kitchen. The man had transformed from a homeless drifter into a culinary partner, and it felt surreal. Jack approached the stove, peering into the pot. "You really think so? I thought it was perfect." Sam chuckled, a sound that had become more frequent in the last few weeks. "Trust me, just a sprinkle. Cooking is all about balance." He reached for the salt shaker, adding a small pinch before tasting the sauce again. His face lit up with satisfaction. "There, that's the ticket." In that moment, Jack felt an overwhelming wave of exhilaration. They had worked tirelessly together, blending their skills to create an entirely new menu. The dishes they had devised reflected both of their styles, Jack's classic techniques and Sam's inventive flair. He couldn't wait for the critic to arrive and taste the fruits of their labor. As they finished plating the last of the dishes, Jack glanced at the clock, his heart racing. "He should be here any minute now. Do you think we're ready?" "I know we are," Sam replied confidently, wiping his hands on a kitchen towel. "Just remember what we talked about. Enjoy the moment. We're not just cooking for him. We're cooking for ourselves." Jack nodded, the weight of his anxiety slightly lifted by Sam's words. Just then, the bell above the restaurant door jingled, and the critic strode in, clipboard in hand, eyes scanning the room. Jack felt his stomach drop. This was it. "Welcome to the Golden Fork," Jack called, forcing a bright smile onto his face. "Can I get you started with a drink?" The critic, a portly man with a well-groomed beard, approached the counter with an air of authority. "A glass of your house red would be lovely," he replied, his voice deep and resonant. As Jack poured the wine, he caught Sam's eye across the kitchen. They exchanged a brief nod of encouragement before Jack turned his attention back to the critic. "We've prepared a special menu for today. I hope you're ready for a culinary experience." "Let's see what you've got," the critic replied, taking a seat at the table by the window, allowing the soft light to illuminate the crisp white tablecloth. Jack returned to the kitchen, adrenaline pumping through his veins. "Okay, Sam, time to shine." Sam grinned, his eyes sparkling with excitement. They began serving the first dish, a delicate appetizer of seared scallops with a citrus beurre blanc. As Jack placed the plate in front of the critic, he held his breath, waiting for the man's reaction. The critic took a thoughtful bite, his eyebrows rising in pleasant surprise. This is well executed. The scallops are perfectly cooked," he said, scribbling notes on his clipboard. Jack felt a rush of relief, but they were just getting started. Next came the main course, a hearty coq au vin that Sam had suggested, enriched with rich red wine and aromatic herbs. Jack watched as the critic savored each bite, his expression shifting from analytical to genuinely impressed. "This is exceptional," he declared, looking up from his plate. "The depth of flavor is remarkable. Who's responsible for this?" "That would be a team effort," Jack said, unable to contain his pride. "Sam here has been a tremendous help." The critic nodded, his interest piqued. "Well done, Sam. It's not every day you find such talent in an unexpected place." Sam beamed, his cheeks flushing with pride. "Thank you, sir. It's been a labor of love." As they moved on to dessert, a rich chocolate torte with raspberry coulis, Jack couldn't help but steal glances at Sam and Lily, who was busy coloring at a nearby table. The little girl had become the heart of the restaurant, her laughter and spirit breathing new life into the once dying establishment. Jack felt a swell of gratitude for the unexpected family they had formed. After the critic finished his dessert, he leaned back in his chair, clearly satisfied. "I must say, I came in here expecting to find a struggling restaurant on the verge of closing, and instead I discovered a hidden gem. You've done a remarkable job revitalizing this place." Jack felt a weight lift from his shoulders as he exchanged glances with Sam. They were finally getting the recognition they deserved. "Thank you. That means a lot to both of us," Jack said, his voice thick with emotion. As the critic prepared to leave, he leaned over the table, a twinkle in his eye. "I'll be writing a glowing review. I think this place has a bright future ahead of it." Jack could hardly contain his excitement. "Thank you. We'll be waiting eagerly for your article." Once the critic departed, Jack turned to Sam, who was grinning from ear to ear. "Did you hear that? We did it." "Together?" Sam replied, extending a hand for a high five. Jack slapped his palm against Sam's, feeling the rush of victory course through him. Just then, Lily hurried over, a bright smile illuminating her face. "Did he like the food? Did he say it was good?" she asked, bouncing on her feet. Jack knelt to her level, his heart swelling with pride. "He loved it, Lily. You're a big part of this. Your cooking made a difference." Lily's eyes sparkled with joy. "Can we celebrate? I want to make a cake." "Absolutely," Sam said, ruffling her hair affectionately. "Let's whip something up together." As they moved into the kitchen, Jack felt a sense of belonging he hadn't felt in years. The restaurant was more than just a business now. It was a home, a place where laughter and love flourished amidst the clatter of pots and pans. They were a family, bound together by their shared struggles and triumphs. Later that evening, as they sat around the table sharing slices of Lily's cake, Jack felt a contentment wash over him. He listened as Sam recounted stories from his past, tales of dreams once held and the unexpected turns life had taken. Jack shared his own stories too, reminiscing about his daughter and the joy she had brought into his life. "Life can be tough," Sam said, a somber note creeping into his voice. "But moments like these remind me that there's always hope, even when things seem bleak." Jack nodded, feeling a deep connection to Sam. "I never expected to find hope again, especially not in a place like this. But here we are." Lily looked back and forth between the two men, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Can we always be together like this?" Jack felt a lump form in his throat. "I hope so, Lily. You've brought so much joy into our lives." As they finished their cake, Jack's heart swelled with a sense of purpose. He had faced the brink of despair, and now, with Sam and Lily by his side, he felt ready to fight for what he had: a family, a restaurant, and a second chance at life. However, as the evening wore on, the door of the Golden Fork swung open once again. Jack looked up to see Sarah, his ex-wife, standing in the doorway, a hesitant smile on her face. The air shifted, and Jack's heart sank. Everything he had built with Sam and Lily now felt precarious, as if the fragile balance of their new life could topple at any moment. He could see the interest in her eyes, not just for him, but for the restaurant, their old dream. Jack's stomach churned as he considered the implications of her return. Would she try to reclaim a part of his life he had only just begun to rebuild? Would she take away the family he had formed with Sam and Lily? The questions loomed heavy in the air, and Jack felt the excitement of the day begin to slip away, replaced by uncertainty and fear. He exchanged a glance with Sam, who had also noticed Sarah's arrival. Jack could see the concern in Sam's eyes, and he knew that the next few moments would be crucial. The future of the Golden Fork, and the makeshift family they had created now hung in the balance, and Jack was faced with a decision that would change everything. Jack Thompson leaned against the counter of the Golden Fork, gazing out the window as the sun dipped below the horizon. The warm colors of the setting sun spilled through the glass, illuminating the restaurant's interior with a soft glow. His heart was heavy with the weight of the decision he had just made. After a long and heartfelt conversation with Sam, he had finally resolved to reject Sarah's offer. The thought of selling the restaurant to his ex-wife felt like a betrayal to everything he had built in recent months with Sam and Lily. This place was more than just a business. It had become a sanctuary, a home filled with laughter and hope, and he wasn't ready to let that go. "Jack?" Sam's voice broke through his thoughts, pulling him back to the present. He turned to see Sam entering from the back, wiping his hands on a kitchen towel. "You okay?" Jack nodded, though he felt a storm brewing inside him. "Just thinking about what Sarah said. It's hard to shake off the past, you know." He paused, his gaze drifting back to the window. "But this place, it's starting to feel like a family again. I want to keep it that way." Sam approached, his expression thoughtful. "I get that. But you know, sometimes it's easier to let go of the past than to hold on to it. You're not obligated to anyone but yourself and Lily now." Jack sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's not just about me. It's about the life we're trying to build here. I don't want to drag you or Lily into my old mess." "Jack," Sam said gently, placing a hand on his shoulder, "you're not dragging us into anything. You're giving us a chance. We're all in this together." Jack felt a surge of gratitude for Sam's unwavering support. "You're right. I wish I could shake off the doubt. What if I'm making the wrong choice?" "Life is about choices, man. You just have to make one that feels right to you. Besides, I believe in what we're doing here. You should too," Sam encouraged, his eyes glinting with sincerity. As they stood together in the warm light of the kitchen, Jack felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. "I really appreciate everything you've done, Sam. I don't think I would have found my way back without you and Lily." "Speaking of Lily," Sam said, a hint of amusement in his voice, "she's been on a cooking rampage out back. I think she might be plotting to take over the kitchen." Jack chuckled. "Let's hope she doesn't burn it down in the process." He moved toward the back and pushed open the door to the small outdoor area where they had set up a few tables for alfresco dining. Lily was there, her face lit up with excitement as she mixed ingredients in a bowl that was almost too big for her small frame. "Dad, look!" she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "I'm making a salad with all the tomatoes I picked. It's going to be amazing." Jack knelt beside her, his heart swelling with pride. She was so full of life and enthusiasm. "It looks fantastic, sweetheart. What else are you putting in there?" "Lettuce, cucumbers, and I found some herbs too. Can we serve it at dinner?" Her voice was filled with hope. "Of course. We'll make it a special feature tonight," Jack said, ruffling her hair affectionately. "You're turning into quite the little chef." "Thanks, Dad," she beamed, the sheer joy radiating from her. Just then, Sam joined them, observing with a smile. "Looks like we have a gourmet salad in the making. What do you think, Jack? Should we let her run the kitchen tonight?" Jack laughed. "As long as she doesn't try to put too many pickles in it. Last time she went a little overboard." Lily's eyes widened in mock horror. "Dad, I was just experimenting." "We love your experiments, darling," Sam chimed in, crouching down beside her. "But maybe we should stick to the basics for now. Let's keep it simple and delicious." Okay, I'll make it the best salad ever," Lily declared, her tiny fists pumping in the air. As they worked together, laughter filled the air, creating a warmth that enveloped them like a cozy blanket. Jack felt a sense of belonging that he had long thought lost. They were a family in their own unique way, and he was determined to protect that bond. Later that evening, as the dinner rush began, the restaurant buzzed with activity. Jack manned the front, greeting customers with a smile, while Sam worked diligently in the kitchen, guided by Lily's enthusiastic suggestions. The atmosphere was vibrant, filled with the aroma of fresh ingredients and the sound of clinking glasses. "Table 6 wants the special," a waitress called out, and Jack quickly relayed the order to Sam, who was chopping vegetables with precision. "Got it! I'll have it out in 5, Sam replied, his focus unwavering. As the night progressed, Jack stole a moment to reflect on how far they had come. The restaurant was bustling, patrons enjoying the food prepared with love and care. He glanced towards the kitchen, where Sam and Lily were collaborating like a well-oiled machine. In that moment, everything felt right. When the last customer left, Jack felt a wave of exhaustion wash over him. "What a night!" he exclaimed, wiping the sweat off his brow. "I think we might have just broken a record for the most salads served in one evening." "Thanks to our resident chef over there," Sam said, nodding towards Lily, who was busy cleaning up. "She really knows how to impress the crowd." Lily looked up, her face flushed with pride. "I just wanted everyone to taste something awesome." "Mission accomplished, kiddo," Jack said, his heart swelling with pride. "You did amazing." As they began to clean up, Jack felt an urge to talk to Sam about something that had been weighing on his mind. He knew it was time to address the elephant in the room, the secrets Sam had yet to reveal. "Sam," he began, hesitating slightly, "can we talk for a minute? I'd like to know more about your past, about what really happened." Sam's expression shifted from light-hearted to serious. He sighed, leaning against the counter. "I guess it's time, huh?" Jack nodded, his heart racing. "I've seen glimpses of your skills, and it's clear you're not just some guy who fell on hard times. You've got talent, Sam, but you need to tell me what happened." Sam took a deep breath, his gaze drifting to the floor. "I was a chef, Jack, a renowned one, had a restaurant that was doing great until a tragic accident took everything away from me." Jack's brow furrowed with concern. "What kind of accident?" "I lost my family in a car crash," Sam said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I was driving. It was my fault. I couldn't handle the guilt, so I walked away from everything, my career, my life. I faked my death to escape the pressure and pain." Jack felt a mixture of admiration and fear wash over him. "But why here? Why now?" "Because I wanted to start over," Sam replied, meeting Jack's gaze. "When I met you and Lily, it felt like a second chance. I thought maybe, just maybe, I could find my way back to who I was." Silence hung heavily between them as Jack absorbed Sam's words. The revelation was both heartbreaking and illuminating. Sam was not just a homeless man. He was a man burdened by grief and loss, seeking redemption through the very thing that had once brought him joy. "Sam," Jack said slowly, "I don't know what to say. Just know that I'm not looking to take anything from you. I just want to help. I've seen what you're building here, and it's beautiful," Sam said, his voice steady. "But I'm scared too. Scared that my past will catch up to me or that I'll let you down." Jack shook his head, feeling a surge of determination. "You won't let me down. We're in this together. Besides, you have skills that could help us take this place to new heights. But we need to be honest with each other." "I promise," Sam said, his eyes glistening with sincerity. "No more secrets." With that, the two men stood in the fading light of the restaurant, their bond deepening as they faced the uncertainties of the future together. In that moment, Jack realized that he wasn't just fighting for his restaurant. He was fighting for a family, a fresh start for all of them, and perhaps, just perhaps, They would find the redemption they all so desperately sought. The evening sun cast a warm glow through the front windows of the Golden Fork, illuminating the rustic decor that had once drawn in a steady stream of customers. Jack Thompson pushed the door open without knocking, an action that had become a comfortable routine. He expected to be greeted by the familiar sounds of pots clanging and Lily's laughter, but as he stepped inside, an unsettling silence enveloped him. Jack's heart sank when he saw Sam seated at the table with his back to the door, phone pressed to his ear. The intensity of Sam's conversation was palpable, his voice low but urgent. Jack edged closer, curiosity peaking as he caught snippets of the discussion. "I can't just walk away from this," Sam said, his tone filled with a mixture of excitement and tension. "If I agree, it could be a multi-million-dollar opportunity for me." Jack's stomach twisted into knots. He felt as if he had stumbled upon a private moment that he wasn't meant to see, a betrayal lurking in the shadows. The warmth of the restaurant faded, replaced by a chill of uncertainty. Was Sam planning to leave them behind? All the dreams they had built together could come crashing down. "Sam!" Jack called out, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. Sam turned, a look of surprise washing over his face as he quickly ended the call, sliding the phone into his pocket. "Jack, I didn't hear you come in," Sam said, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "What was that all about?" Jack's voice was sharper than he intended, the hurt seeping through. "Are you planning to leave us?" "No, it's not like that at all," Sam replied, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "I was just discussing a potential opportunity. I thought it might help us all." "Help us all?" Jack echoed, disbelief coloring his tone. "You're talking about leaving, Sam. What about Lily? What about the life we've built here?" Sam took a deep breath, the weight of Jack's words visibly pressing down on him. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought I could use this restaurant as a stepping stone to rebuild my life. I never wanted to abandon you or Lily." Jack felt a mix of emotions swirling within him, anger, confusion, and a flicker of understanding. It was clear that Sam was wrestling with his own demons, trying to carve out a future for himself and his daughter. But the thought of losing the fragile family they had created together felt like a knife twisting in his gut. "Rebuild your life? Is that what this is about?" Jack's voice softened as he stepped closer. "I thought we were in this together. I thought you'd found a home here." "I have," Sam insisted, his eyes earnest. "But I can't ignore this chance. It could mean a fresh start for us. I want to provide for Lily. I want to give her a better life than I had." Jack's heart ached at the sincerity in Sam's voice. He remembered his own daughter, the dreams he once had for her, and how quickly they had been taken away. "I get it, Sam," he said quietly. "But what happens to us? What happens to the dream we've been building together?" Before Sam could respond, the door swung open and Lily bounded into the room, her excitement palpable. She held a letter in her small hands, her eyes shining. "Dad, look what I found!" "Lily, wait," Jack began, but the girl was already unfolding the paper, her eyes darting over the words. "What is it, sweetheart?" Sam asked, leaning down to meet her gaze. "It's a letter addressed to you," Lily exclaimed, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "It looks important." Confusion flickered across Sam's face as he reached out for the letter. As he read the words, the color drained from his face, an expression of shock replacing the joy that had been there just moments before. "What does it say?" Jack asked, his heartbeat quickening. They know who I am," Sam muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. "They've found me." "What are you talking about?" Jack pressed, his anxiety rising. Lily's innocent questions filled the air, but Sam's eyes were distant. "It's from my old life, Jack. They've discovered that I'm still alive. I faked my death to escape the pressures of fame." Jack felt the ground beneath him shift. "Fame? What do you mean?" Suddenly, it all began to fall into place. The pieces of Sam's past that he had only glimpsed before. The way he cooked, the stories he told, the air of mystery that surrounded him. Sam was not just a homeless man looking for a fresh start. He was a celebrity chef, someone who had once been at the pinnacle of success, only to retreat into the shadows. "Sam, you can't be serious," Jack said, disbelief flooding his voice. You were famous?" Sam nodded slowly, the weight of his confession pressing heavily upon him. "I was once the head chef at one of the top restaurants in the country. But the pressure, the constant scrutiny, it took everything out of me. I wanted to disappear, to find peace, so I faked my death." Lily, still holding the letter, looked up at her father with wide eyes. "Dad, you were famous? Why didn't you tell me?" "I didn't want you to live in the shadow of who I used to be," Sam explained, his voice cracking with emotion. "I wanted you to have a normal life, away from the spotlight, but now it seems that I can't escape it." Jack felt his heart racing, caught between his admiration for Sam's culinary talent and the fear of what this revelation could mean for their makeshift family. "So, what now?" he asked, his voice trembling. "You're going to leave? Go back to that life?" "I don't know," Sam admitted, anguish etched across his face. "I never wanted to abandon you or Lily. This place, this restaurant, it means everything to me. It's where I've started to rebuild myself. But this opportunity, it could change everything." Silence fell over the room, the weight of their situation heavy in the air. Jack felt the tension between them, the unspoken fears and hopes colliding in a way that felt almost unbearable. "What do we do now?" Lily piped up, her small voice breaking the stillness. Jack looked at her, the glimmer of innocence in her eyes a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling around them. He took a deep breath, searching for the right words. "We figure it out together," he finally said, meeting Sam's gaze. "We need to talk about this, all of us. No more secrets. If we're going to make this work, we have to be honest with each other." Sam nodded, the gravity of the moment settling in. "You're right, Jack. I don't want to lose what we've built here, but I also can't ignore my past." As they stood together in the dim light of the Golden Fork, the reality of their situation loomed over them like a dark cloud. Jack could feel the weight of their choices pressing down on him, the uncertainty of their future stretching out ahead. But in that moment, he realized that despite the chaos, they had forged a bond that could withstand even the most shocking revelations. "Let's take it one step at a time," Jack suggested, his voice steady. "We'll figure out what this means for you, for Lily, and for us. Together." And as Sam looked at Jack, the flicker of hope ignited again, making them both wonder if they could truly navigate the storm ahead.